Happy Tuesday! My name's Nick.
My name is Alan.
And welcome into the dungeon.
Why would she want to kill you?
I have no idea. You said she wanted to kill me. I just saw her trying to kill you.
Something's amiss here. Let me search her body.
What are you looking for?
Any clues as to what her real intentions were?
Roll an investigation checker.
That's a total of 16.
So you search her body. You find a pouch of gold. Don't know if you want to take it in front of Tavian, but there is a pouch of a few gold, 3 or 4 gold.
I toss the pouch to Tavian.
A few of her personal belongings, mundane items she may be carrying. Nothing that stands out. You do find a letter, crumpled up, and as you search, you notice, because you remember Timmy saying that she kept touching her ear, so that's a particular point of interest to you, and you do notice there's something in there. A little kind of pebble stuck in her ear.
I delicately remove it from her ear.
Okay, you remove it and you hold it.
Now that I've got that pebble, as you've described it in my hand, I want to open the letter and see what it says.
It's crumpled up, but you are able to straighten it out. Seems something that she perhaps had forgotten to dispose of. She maybe was thinking of doing it at some point and never got round to do it. And it reads, I have planted the letter on an unsuspecting fool, an old man with pointy ears, travelling with a fat buffoon. You can't miss them. They will stick out in the tradeway. I leave the rest to you.
I think that I cracked it. Not long after we switched off last week. I wonder how many of our listeners caught on as well.
I wonder too. We should have asked them to comment if they had an idea.
Hashtag missed opportunities. You'll tell me now if it's correct or not, but I think it's the bullshitter. To clarify for our listeners, I'm referring to the horse siglesman. The one that gave me that dodgy letter.
The one you found in Daggerford. You bought Luna and Betsy from, right?
Yeah, from there.
Well, that's Arfharim's suspicion, and you wouldn't be much the wiser. It's talking about a planted letter. The only letter you've picked up is from that person, so it's pretty safe to assume that he's on the right track.
I'll tell you where my mind went to initially, though. I thought that she had planted a letter on me, and that this was a letter to someone else.
I think I omitted the parts where it was addressed to her in last episode. It was supposed to start by Dear Rilsa, so that you knew that it was a letter addressed to her.
Can tell you what I'm going to be doing as soon as things are under control, and it's going to be read that letter that was in inverted commas or air quotes planted on me. Because I did take it quite willingly.
Yes, you did. Everything is under control, really. You have Tavian still a bit shaken and sure of what to do himself, looking over Rilsa's body and glancing back at Bran's too. Minutes ago, they were his trusted bodyguards, and now there they are, dead. So he's a bit apprehensive still to trust you completely, but it is starting to sink in that perhaps he was being set up somehow for some sinister motives. He's not quite clear on what they are yet, but it is now around 6 a.m. It's close to dawn, and everything is quite tranquil for now.
Alright, before moving on, I want to check Bran's body as well, see if he's got any dodgy correspondence or perhaps another pebble in his ear. That reminds me, I need to do a check at some point to see what it is, although Nick, the player, has a suspicion.
Okay, so you want to head over to Bran's body?
Yes, please.
Timmy and Wilbur are still with you, and they follow you towards Bran's body. Leave Tavian to himself for a bit. Roll an investigation check when you reach the body. You notice the body is kind of shriveled, like if its life force was sucked out of it. You can imagine it's Timmy's attack that did this.
All right, so my investigation was a total of 12.
You search around his body, you find personal items, another small pouch with some silver coins and a gold coin. You find a flute in one of his pockets, small flute, but other than that, nothing that catches your attention.
I toss the pouch to Tavian.
Okay, so you walk back to him, toss him the pouch. He's still keeping to himself, quite silent, mulling things over.
Wilbur,
Yes, Grumpy.
why don't you take Tavian back to his tent? Perhaps brew him a tea or something for him to calm down with. I need to speak with Timmy.
Okay. Follow me, Tavian. I know how to make good tea.
Yes, and he will keep you safe. I haven't determined yet whether your former bodyguards were working with anybody.
He nods solemnly and follows Wilbur into his sleeping quarters, his sleeping tent.
Timmy,
Yes, Arfharim.
I suspect you will be expecting a visit from your friend.
Well, it's usually when this contraption... And he pats his pocket on his jacket, indicating where the watch is, where the watch was consuming the souls. Once this is full, then yes, he might visit. But there's only 2 bodies here. I was going to ask, shall I consume them?
Well, I was going to ask whether you need to. Are you compelled to consume them?
Well, yes, I am compelled to work for this demon. If he notices that I have been attacking creatures and not taking their souls for him, then there could be repercussions.
But perhaps there is a loophole. Because you did not attack Rilsa.
No, indeed I did not. Shall I damn his soul only then?
Yes. Leave Rilsa's. That means you'll only have 1 soul in your pocket watch.
Okay, understood. And he heads on off to do that same rituals that he did back in the glade where you found the dwarf.
Have you harvested his soul yet?
You see him that he is currently harvesting the soul, putting his hands on the body and siphoning the soul, the energy, into the pocket watch. I'm all done.
I think it's time to have that little communication with souls that you showed off last time.
Oh yes, rather convenient.
Before I start asking Timmy to start communicating with Bran, I'm thinking now, is Bran also on those posters that I collected from Captain John?
You take them out, look through them, and no, you don't see Bran's face. They look very similar, Bran and Rilsa. They seem to be identical twins, but the name on the poster is Rilsa.
All right.
Well, Timmy, my first question for Bran is why was Rilsa rummaging amongst the big boxes and the big crates?
You hear him ask the soul as he holds the pocket watch in his hand. He says that she was checking on the goods they were transporting to Daggerford.
That's bullshit! Ask him, what are they hiding or smuggling in those boxes? I think he's being very facetious and very clever by saying that she's just checking the goods. There's clearly something there.
Again, you see him ask the question you just posed to him. He says he hasn't hidden anything.
What has Rilsa hidden in the crates? And if he tells me saffron again, I'm going to offer him up personally to your demon lord.
He said she's hidden illegal goods, drugs that were meant to be smuggled into Daggerford.
That's more like it to me.
Well, we got to him, eventually,
Ask him why he was going to kill Tavian.
to help his sister, he said.
Just go do a intelligence check just to see if Arfharim has caught on in a similar manner to Nick the player.
Player.
All right, yeah, that was just over a 10. So I'll say that Arfharim does have a hunch.
I'm going to need about 10 minutes, Timmy, before I ask my 5th question. You see, I have a suspicion. You said that Rilsa was speaking almost to herself, communicating with someone.
Yes, she kept touching her ear.
Exactly. And I found this pebble inside her ear. Something tells me that this is no ordinary pebble.
So I want to cast Detect Magic as a ritual.
Okay.
I want to spend those 10 minutes in meditation trying to determine what exactly this little pebble is and what it does.
Timothy kind of wanders off a bit. slips his watch back into his pocket, and you spend the 10 minutes concentrating on the item, the small pebble in your hand. You do sense it's magical, and you do sense that its magical school is divination.
Timmy, are you around?
Timothy pops up behind you. Yes,
Oh,
I'm here.
why on earth did you pop up behind me instead of in front of me?
I don't know, ghost things.
Well, as I suspected, this tiny pebble is indeed magical. And given that it was in the same ear that you saw her touching as she was talking to somebody, I know what my 5th question to Bran will be.
Very well.
Ask him who Rilsa communicates with via the pebble in her ear.
Takes out the pocket watch, asks the question. He says that she talks to that boss, someone called Troll. You want to go for the last one, Arfharim?
Yes, I think we should. Even if it means his soul will not be tormented as it deserves.
I don't think my patron would mind. It's just one soul.
Ask him in what town we can find this person or entity known as Troll.
Again, watching hand, he asks the question. We won't find him in a town. He dwells in the troll claws.
This is most interesting. I thought it was going to be that horse seller in Daggerfoot. I wonder if it's the same troll that caused so much pain and misery on Sir Galvanus. Come now, let's return to Tavian and good old Wilbur.
As you finish the line of questioning, you see the pocket watch vibrate on Timothy's hand, casting pulsating blue light, flickering on and off. Suddenly with a burst, soul-like energy pops out of the watch, shoots up into the sky, and disappears with a bright burst. As it does, you hear a wailing sound that sends a shiver down your spine. Alright, so you go towards the tent where Wilbur went with Tavian. You also know that is where Bran and Rilsa were sleeping. You move the tarp to one side to enter, and there you see Tavian lying on the bed. Wilbur sat next to him, trying to read the letter that Sir Galvanos had given him out loud in an attempt to comfort Tavian.
I'm sure he's not doing a great job at comforting him.
You only see Tavian with his eyes closed. You're not sure if he's asleep, if he's just trying to block the story that, the letter that Wilbur is reading to him, or he's just trying to come to terms with all that has happened in the last hours.
Tavian!
Oh, yeah, yes! He sits up, reaches for the tea that's on a stool next to the bed, sips it, and lays it back down. You need anything else?
No, but I have some answers for you.
Answers? I need answers right now.
Well, it appears that I now know why Rilsa was wanted.
Really?
Yes. You see, my friend Timmy has a gift. He's able to speak with souls that have recently passed.
Oh, shucks. And you see Timmy downplay his ability.
We were able to question Bran. It appears that Rilsa has been hiding drugs within your crates of saffron.
Drugs?
Illegal substances.
In my saffron crates?
Exactly.
How dare they? They could have hanged us for that.
Most serious crime.
I can't believe it.
Although you would not have faced the noose had it not been for my grandson and I.
I need to see it with my own eyes.
We will help you inspect the crates now. But of more concern is that they appear to be working either with a person named Troll or indeed an actual troll.
Troll?
Yes, Bran says that this person or entity resides not within a town, but within the troll claws themselves.
The troll claws, yes. An infamous criminal that operates in the underworld.
You know of this troll?
Don't know him, but I've heard of stories. I had no idea my own bodyguards were working for him.
Well, it appears that both you and ourselves are now entwined.
But I need proof. What if you have planted those drugs?
How on earth was I going to plant the drugs? You saw my grandson and I walk in.
Just now, I was sleeping here.
You think I'm going to stop you from being murdered? Defend you against Rilsa? Show you a poster that clearly states that she is wanted? I have a letter here saying that somebody has planted a letter on an old man and a fatso.
Yes, it all adds up. When you think about it, it's just hard for me to accept. I apologize.
What will you do now, Tavian?
Well, for once, we need to get rid of those drugs.
Well, that goes without saying. But your next move from here.
I'll go to Daggerford and find suitable bodyguards there.
It's a long and dangerous road on your own. Why not come back to Willowshade Hollow? My grandson Timmy and I can keep you safe, and you can hire some new bodyguards there. You may be wanted by the troll now.
Willowshade Hollow is full of schmucks, although there are adventurers that come seeking fortune in the Folly. Maybe I'll meet someone there.
Yes, well, you have some belongings from them that you can sell. You have those 2 pouches of gold. And here, keep hold of this wanted poster and this letter. That should be proof that you can submit to Captain John and collect a bounty.
Thank you. I am pretty well off. I don't really need charity, but these pouches were my money, my wages paid to them, so I will keep them. If you don't want to hand the poster in yourself and collect the bounty, if you're not going back to Daggerford, I'll gladly do it too.
Yes, my path, I feel, takes me far away from Daggerford. I do not know when we will return.
I think you're right. I should go to Willowshade Hollow.
We can help you pack up the camp and escort you down.
Yes. It'll take a good part of the morning, but if we start now, after some breakfast, we should be able to leave before midday.
Well then, let's have some breakfast. Start taking down the camp. Let's inspect those crates together.
If we're gonna have breakfast first, I don't want to let this guy out of my sight.
Okay. He stays inside the tent. He doesn't leave to the campfire. We'll have some cold cuts of meat and cheese, crackers, some bread, something quick. There's no time to start a fire for some hot food, and once we're done, we'll start packing. So he produces these items, the cheeses and all that. And after a while, when you're all satisfied, the tedious job of packing begins, and Tavian starts with the sleeping quarters. You can see his bed is more of a bedroll, propped up on a makeshift canopy made of some logs. You see that Rilsa and Bran were sleeping in hammocks, tied to posts. There's some belongings from Rilsa and Bran that Tavian sets to one side. I have no use for these. Do with them what you will.
Is there anything of interest there?
You have a quick rummage through. I mean, there's some letters, some papers, again, personal trinkets and belongings, but nothing that stands out really.
Anything in the letters that would raise an eyebrow?
You do see one. It doesn't really raise... roll a investigation.
It's a total of 16.
All the letters are really notes, field notes, that sort of thing, observations, kind of a scrappy diary being kept, but all strewn across. There's no real order to it. And there's this one paper, the only one in that collection, that is blank. Blank on both sides. It seems worn, unused, but it's blank. That kind of seems out of place to you. You notice that it does seem to have been written on, but you don't see the writing.
I put in the pouch of distribution.
Okay.
Gonna do detect magic on that at some point. See if it's been written with some magical ink, given that I can see that it's been written on.
Oh, my back. I just need a couple of minutes here.
And whilst the rest are taking down the camp, I want to retrieve from the pouch of distribution the horse seller's letter.
So you reach into the pouch of vouching, or vouch pouch. Think of the letter. You pull it out. You sure you want to open it? The guy did say do not open it under any circumstances.
Yes, I do. I've already checked it for magic.
Okay.
So I know there's nothing magical in it, so I want to know what message he had here intended for Rilsa. Arfharim's thinking this is clearly the intended recipient.
So you bring out the letter, open the envelope, and begin to read it. It reads, "We were able to frame Rilsa, the Tiefling Guild. The guards don't suspect you, so you should be able to leave Daggerford with no trouble. The counterfeit goods have all been processed. The girl may start to speak, though, and claim to have been framed. I think it would be best to silence her and her party. You could kill her and claim her bounty as an added bonus. Awaiting your next shipment." And it's signed out with a B, capital B.
Many questions here. Arfharim is not entirely sure Although he does recall Rilsa saying she would clear her name soon.
Roll an intelligence for Arfharim to see how much he's putting together at this point.
Okay, that's a total of 18.
Nice. So you start thinking about the other letter that you found, the one you found on Rilsa. You remember it said that it was a planted letter on an unsuspecting fool, an old man. You're pretty safe in assuming that you are that old man, and that letter was planted on you for a reason. The letter planted on you is the one you're now reading, the one the horse vendor gave you. As you well said, you remember Timothy saying that he overheard Rilsa say she would soon clear her name, and you know that Rilsa is wanted. So you put things together and you start to wonder that perhaps this letter that you carry with you is supposed to be incriminating evidence in order to shift the blame of whatever she's wanted for onto you. You get the feeling that perhaps the attempt on Tavian's life was to try and frame you that you had killed him. You obviously get the feeling you weren't supposed to see that, and they may have wanted to turn you into the gods with this letter on you for further proof that you are the person they are looking for, and not Rilsa herself. She, as the letter reads, was framed.
Very, very helpful, because I was starting to wonder why I was taking this to Baldur's Gate, but clearly was meant to be found by Rilsa.
Yeah, you get the feeling that the letter she received was a warning that this letter is planted on you, and that this letter was always meant for Rilsa, and not for anyone in Baldur's Gate. For all you know, that person in Baldur's Gate may not even exist.
I tuck the letter back into my pouch.
Okay.
Maybe I've got some time. I want to cast a ritual and see if I can detect any magic on that unwritten page.
I mean, you have all the time in the world. It's still early morning, and it's going to take a while before everything's packed up, especially since he doesn't have the help of the bodyguards anymore. But Wilbur is helping him, at least.
Hopefully Timmy is as well.
Well, Timmy, he comes and goes. So you cast a ritual. You do sense a slight magical essence coming from the letter. And you do sense that that magical essence is of the school of illusion.
Would Arfharim have, in all his years of scribing for Oben, come across a technique such as this, and perhaps would know how to decipher it, whether it needs, a magical item, whether it needs a spell, whether it's something as simple, well, I'm guessing not quite, given that there's magic. I was going to say, like squeezing lemon juice on it or something. But, he's been a scribe for Oben for about 100 years. Has he come across this sort of technique of hiding a message magically?
You do know that there's spells that can kind of aid with this kind of thing. And you also do know that there's certain inks that, processed in a certain way with the use of magic, can hide a message. Invisible inks. Oben has asked you in the past to use said inks to hide important messages, and you do know that there's a certain tier of inks, the most expensive ones being harder to decipher or to reveal. The fact that this ink let off a very faint magical essence suggests to you that perhaps it's one of the weaker ones, and you know that generally the weaker ones can be read if you hold the parchment and the ink close to a naked flame.
Well, I know what we're going to do next.
You're going to help Tavian pack?
Oh, I'm going to light a fire. Or a candle. Is there a candle around? Probably much safer than... it did cross my mind to cast a spell, Firebolt, but I thought it's going to be
a bit overkill.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw candles inside the sleeping quarters. You pop in quickly. You see Tavian and Wilbur busy packing things up, and you see a few candles lying there on the floor. You pick one up.
I promptly light it.
All right.
And try and read the letter.
You bring the candle flame close to the letter, and you read, Dearest Rilsa, preparations are in place to begin our initial distribution to Daggerford. As agreed, I will cause a distraction on the road. You'll find a false panel on the crate marked fragile. You know what to do. Do not let your brother handle this. Bran's too obvious and too loud. I trust your touch more than his sword. Payment will follow once distribution begins within Daggerford. Keep your head low and your friends blind. Should the gnome suspect anything, smile. You've always been good at smiling. And the letter signs out with the troll.
Damn, there's something in that crate that they didn't want Bran to touch. I'm starting to think if there's explosives or fireworks or something in there to cause a distraction.
Well, this being part of the same kind of setup and the same kind of mystery, I'll say that the intelligence check that you rolled before for Arfharim is still valid here. And Arfharim keeps the trail and keeps joining the dots together. And he starts to think back to the tale Tavian told you yesterday about the crocodile on the road and the fact that his horse and wagon, or his horse got spooked and he took the wagon off the road. You remember him saying that Rilsa followed the wagon. And as you cross-check the letter you just read, you do see that it does say there that there will be a distraction on the road caused by the troll. He talks about a crate marked fragile with a false panel and that Rilsa will know what to do. So you can kind of guess that perhaps that crocodile was part of the distraction and that Rilsa may have been up to no good when she went to fetch the wagon. Perhaps she planted the drugs there, or she swapped one of the crates for the one with the planted drugs.
I've got a horrible sensation that perhaps the caravan is being watched. I get up in a bit of a kerfuffle and I start rushing towards Tavian.
David,
Yes.
we may be in danger.
Why so?
Look at this letter. This is all the proof you need. That Rilsa's been working with you, and I have the answer to the riddle the other night.
What riddle?
Why did the crocodile cross the road? To double-cross you!
What? The crocodile's in it!
It was a distraction. Who ran after the horse with a cart?
Rilsa!
Yes. This letter says that they were going to cause a distraction on the road, and that they were going to plant drugs in the crate marked fragile. There's a false panel. Come, quick!
I start rushing off to the crates, not even really knowing which one it is, but I'm rushing to where the crates were.
He drops everything he had, Tavian, and rushes behind you. Don't break my crates, they're valuable merchandise.
Which is the one marked fragile?
The one literally...
I'm like...
Stop! They're all fragile. I don't want you tipping any of my precious saffron. Let me handle this. And he looks around the crates, and there's one clearly marked with fragile. This one! I hadn't seen it before.
Well, it seems it's been planted. The letter here, which by the way, I must say, has been signed by the troll.
The troll! Damn him!
It's possible that you're being followed. That this caravan is being watched.
He starts looking around, worried.
Let me investigate the crate. There must be a false panel somewhere.
So I want to investigate the crate. I don't care if he's going to let me or not. I'm already prying it open.
Okay. Roll a strength check if you're trying to pry it open with your bare hands.
Oh dear. I'm not very strong. Oh, baby! Natural 20. Arfharim is feeling the rage and the fear of what could be going on here.
All right. So, as you start looking at this crate and trying to find a way to grip and open it, you realize that it has been tampered with various times. It seems like perhaps Rilsa was quite paranoid that the substance, the drugs, were going to be found, and she kept checking on them. So it has been pried open a few times, and it's easy enough for you to stick your hands in a little slot and pry it open. You take the lid off and you see saffron, but you know that you're looking for a false panel, so you knock around a bit and you feel a hollow. You don't think twice about it, you just dump the saffron to Tavian's shock on the floor, and you proceed to rip the false panel open, revealing a pungent smell. You think perhaps it had been masked by the saffron and by the panel itself, keeping it airtight. It's a kind of leafy, herby substance, deep purple. That's not its name, it's just the color. It's deep purple. You can tell that this is not saffron.
Well. What do we have here?
The substance. What they were smuggling, no doubt. We need to get rid of this.
I couldn't agree more. But it may be our ticket out of a dire predicament.
Ticket to a visit to the Handman, no doubt.
Yes, or...
Let's not trifle with this.
No, but What I'm saying is if we get stopped on the road, perhaps we can bargain with the troll. His drugs for our life if it comes to that.
It's too risky. We are stopped by a wandering patrol.
It is no risk. This pouch I have here is magical. It will keep them safe in another dimension.
The crate is quite big. It's not a small crate.
And how much drugs are we talking here?
Substantial amount. It's quite a big crate, and the whole lower part of it, the whole panel that came off, the whole kind of a quarter of that crate is full of the drugs. You don't know what it does either, and you don't know if you should be handling it. Tavian certainly wishes not to carry it anywhere.
Seems there's too much to fit in here.
I say we burn it.
Oh, preposterous! What if we get intoxicated by the fumes?
What about we bury it?
Or we just leave the damn crate here and be on our way. Are there any markings on this crate that would link it back to you?
Not really, but what if someone comes across it and it falls into innocent hands or into the wrong hands? We should bury it. It's dangerous. I don't know much about this drug, but it seems to be something new coming into the market. It eats at people's brains.
I'll tell you what. I have a magical spell one that casts fire. We can do it safely from 120 feet away.
Sounds good.
Once we're ready, we'll leave 120 feet. I will set it alight, and we'll be on our way.
Agreed. Thank you again.
You're most welcome.
If it weren't for you, I'd be dead. Why did they want to kill me, though?
I suspect that perhaps they wanted to frame me. And that way they would have not only access to the drugs, but your precious cargo of saffron.
But why now, after all these years? I don't know. Many questions to ponder on.
I think we should finish packing up and get on the road. We've already lost half a day.
Yes, we don't mind. Help with the lighter stuff, and we'll get this done.
Of course.
So with much haste, Arfharim, Wilbur, and Timmy want to help Tavian pack up as much as possible and as swiftly as possible get back on the road again.
All right, a few more hours pass. There's a lot to pack, a lot to load onto the carts and get ready, but you eventually get round to everything. You set off on the journey once you're 120 feet away from the remaining crate with the saffron in it and also the drugs. Tavian didn't want to risk selling tainted saffron. You cast a spell?
Yes, I do. I start moving my hands, channeling the weave as this bright ball of fire starts formulating before I promptly hurl it towards the crate.
What's the name of the spell?
That would be Firebolt.
Firebolt. So it's a ranged attack, but as it's a cantrip, and for the sake of brevity, we'll just say that if it didn't hit on the first place, it eventually does, as you fire a volley of firebolts. You hit it without a problem. The crate begins to smolder, to catch fire, and when you see that it's smoking and a flame is rising, you're satisfied enough to turn around and begin on your journey down the road. And that is where we're going to end today's episode.
Well, you're going to have to wait a whole week to find out if we're being tracked, as will I. Intriguing. But if you don't want to wait a whole week, make sure you visit our website, www.i2td.com. Follow the links there to wherever you can find Into the Dungeon. Make sure you follow the little coffee cup as well. If you wish to support the podcast, you may do so by purchasing a potion or signing up to our tier to provide regular potions. It's a fun little way that we have to interact with those of you who choose to support the podcast by allowing you to be a part of the stories we tell and shape the adventures we play, as your potion will appear in-game.
If you cannot donate or wish not to, worry not, you can still help us out by following us and perhaps leaving a review on your podcast player of choice and some stars, top review, 5 stars out of 5, great entertainment and all that. Just write a little review there. If not, you can also tell your friends and family about Into the Dungeon if you think that it's something they will enjoy. That now leads us on to the end of the episode club.
The last one standing.
That's right, where we give you a password and you use the password in a comment. You can do it on Discord or on Twitter, at us, and, X, it's called X now. And we'll read the comment, and that's a way for us to know that you made it to the very, very end of the episode. Do you have a password this week for us?
I think I do.
Let us know.
This week's password is, but then I got high. Then I got high. Then I got high. Dip.
That's a song, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a bit of a theme in this campaign where passwords tend to be linked to songs.
Yeah. If you've been following, at least I think it's been 3 passwords now that are linked to songs. If you know this one, let us know in the comments.
Well, there you have it. We look forward to seeing those, but look forward even more to seeing you next week as we delve into the dungeon.